We're answering a viewer question today. This user is trying to import an image and use the trace function in Silhouette Studio. However, she has basic edition, so the trace by color feature is not available to her. You can go through the process of trying to manipulate the image through the image effects panel, turn it to grayscale, adjust the contrast using the threshold and all of the other stuff, or you can just recreate the image if it's simple enough. In this example, it is an Uno card, which is a very basic design. So I'm going to go through the steps of taking bits and pieces that you can find in the basic software edition, put them all together to create the Uno card design. It's much quicker, it is easier, and you will get better results. Hi, I'm Brenda Lambert. I'm a TJC licensed instructor for Silhouette. You found your way to Silhouette success, and I do hope you're going to join our little community. Now, if everyone is ready to learn something new, let's do this. Then I pulled this image in from Google Photos, and Uno is a registered trademark. Anytime you are working on a copyright design, you want to use it for personal use only. If you do try to sell anything that is copyright, it will come back to bite you in the end. It's my little disclaimer. But for today's purposes, we are going to go with an Uno card because that is exactly what she was asking about. To recreate this card, we are going to start with a rounded rectangle. Just grab that and draw out your shape. I grabbed one of my Uno cards that I have on hand for scale, and it is 2.25 inches wide, and it is 3.5 inches tall. Now that we have the sizing correct, let's go ahead and right click on this and convert it to path. I am going to come up here and change this color to black for now, and then we are going to open up our offset panel. Let's click on offset, and we are going to raise the distance on this so that it looks similar to what is in our inspiration picture. I think that looks okay, so let's click on apply. Now this card is going to be a little bit larger than the average Uno card because of this offset, but it is the correct scale. So we can size it down once we are all done. This outline that we just created should be white, and the next obvious element is this ellipse here. Back to our drawing tools, we can grab the ellipse and draw that out so that it is a similar shape and size. Bring this over and use the green dot at the top to turn it just a bit. Get it set in place, make any necessary adjustments, and when it looks just right, we can go on to the next step. Now the next step does involve the modify panel, and anytime I am working with the modify panel, I like to have a copy of my work. So let's duplicate everything and set this over onto the side. What we need to do here is get rid of the overlap. We just really need the middle part of this ellipse, so we need this side gone and this side gone. We don't really need to worry about the white background at this point, so let's move that out of the way. We can select the black rectangle and the red ellipse, open up our modify panel, and click on divide. This is going to separate each of the pieces and give us this central shape that we were looking for. Now, we could use these pieces for the black background, but it will be easier to layer if we just take this middle piece and set it over on here and delete all of these extra pieces that we have now. Our oval is a little bit off, but it's not too bad. So we are going to go ahead and run with it. The next step, obviously, is getting the Uno logo in place, and for that we are going to need our text. Simply hold down the Shift key and type out Uno, and we're going to adjust the font on this just a little bit. That looks a little bit thick. So we can open up our text style panel. I had typed Uno in here before during my trial run, and picked a bunch of different fonts that I thought looked similar. That one's too rounded. The O is too oblong on that one. Let's go with this one. It's Berlin Sans FB. The only issue I'm seeing now is that the letters are kind of spaced far apart. We can double click on that, come over here to the character spacing, click on the down arrow until they are a little bit closer together. Now we have the letters looking the way they should. Let's switch this over to yellow. And the last part that we need for this design is the black shadow around the letters. So let's go back to the offset panel, click on offset, and that is way too big. So let's start clicking down on our distance here. And another thing that I'm seeing is that our corners are rounded on this and we want them squared up. I think that's going to work out just fine. So let's click apply and change that to black. Now looking at this, you see it is still an offset, not really the shadow that we're going for. So while it's still selected, we can use the arrow keys on our keyboard to bump it down a bit and over to the side. And now it looks just like the shadow that's going on in the original card. This little blue squiggly line underneath Uno is kind of driving me crazy. It's just telling me that Uno is spelled incorrectly because it's not in the dictionary. To get rid of that, we can right click and convert this to a path, and then it's all gone. Let's select the offset and the actual letters, right click and group. And we can bring this up here, rotate it just a little bit, and you can resize it if you'd like, but I think that's pretty good. Now all of this can be cut out from cardstock or vinyl or whatever you like and put together so that it looks just like the original Uno card. Now we are going to go ahead and pull in a different image. This time it is the front of the cards. I am going to duplicate this so that we can see how easily this can be transformed into the other images that are associated with the Uno cards. I'm going to recreate the number 5 card. I have pulled out the middle oval and made an offset around that. I'm going to type out the number 5, find the font, change the color, and create the offset for the shadow. Once that's set in place, we can group it together. And we're going to need 3 of those. Let's set our oval in place. This 5 needs to be quite a bit larger. Scale these down a little bit. We can set 1 in this corner, 1 in that corner. And for the bottom one, we want to flip horizontally and then flip vertically. You can actually go through and recreate the entire set this way. It's a lot of fun and it's great practice as well.